And welcome back. We have with us representatives from the Department of Youth Services. And we have on set Renata Samuels, Communication Officer. Am I right? Edmer, Patt,
Morning.
who is the Youth Empowerment Coordinator. Amram Lemoth, who is also a youth officer. And you guys are here this morning to talk to us about backyard gardening. Welcome, guys.
Thank you. Thank you for having us on the show in the first place.
Yes. So tell us about this. Is this a program that you offer? I know you've been promoting it for quite some time.
Well, it ties in with our strategic goals. So we have a strategic plan that is scheduled, was revamped actually, for 2018, 2023. And we looked at climate change and action plans towards that, but empowering youth to actually be a part of that climate change and sustainable development. So we looked at programs that we have already been doing, but have lost their light a little bit, but we had to bring it back to light and everything, because of course, agriculture over the past years has come into light, then come out of light and everything because of sugar cane and other things that have been focused on a little bit more. But we want to bring back agriculture because of its sustainable development that can provide economic means for people as well as therapeutic means. Agriculture and backyard gardening on a whole can provide a lot for a person if you engage in the activity. So we are looking at that and doing it countrywide. Right now, the North have they're the powerhouse right now with this program. They have been doing wonders with it, with about more than 40 youths, I believe, that are involved right now. So we're just trying to get all of the other departments and all of the other branches to just come on board too as well. But
are you teaching them how to garden? Is that essentially the goals here?
Yes. To start, good morning. My name is Mr. Edmer Patt. I know the guy said it, no? But I love to say my name as well, no? I would want to thank Channel 5, Department of Youth Services, the Belize Marketing and Development Corporation, Ministry of Agriculture, because without them, this won't be happening, right? And if you want to think about backyard gardening, you have to have the passion and the love to do backyard gardening. That's the first step you have to do, right? The next step is, why do I want to do backyard gardening? That's the next question you have to do. Why? For a living, for a sport, for what? Right? You have to check if you have the location as well, the soil, what type of soil, right? All of those questions have to come, right? And the question you ask, if we are offering courses, yes, we are offering courses, a collaboration between BMDC and MOA, which is Ministry of Agriculture, and the Department of Youth Services are conducting a course that we already finished, and we're going to start a follow program right now in the next 2 weeks. So to me, that's an adventure. I love agriculture.
How did you get involved in this program?
I get involved because last 15 years, my father died because of a snake bite. He was in his farm, right?
Wow.
After that, I get fear. I don't want to go to farm, right? After years, I finished study, I managed to get my job. I say, oh, my money is just buying a cell phone, buying this, buying that. I need to put my money in play. I need to invest my money. So I went and I speak with some friends and I said, but you have farm, you have land, you can plant. But I don't know about planting. I fear snake, I fear all of that. Don't worry, man, I will help you. And then right there, they started to come. And then at that same time, my department was trying to promote agriculture. And I said, if something was just reaching right there, and the door just opened for me. Ministry of Agriculture came into play. And then BMDC come into play. And then we are right there, sitting right now, training persons and speaking right here about agriculture.
Yeah, so for me, I've been doing agriculture before I came on board with the department, but I used to also volunteer for the department before I came on board. And so when I came on as a youth officer, it was something that I brought because most youth officers and youth empowerment coordinators, they all bring a passion and a set of skills. So I am stationed in Benke, so one of my projects that I started was the backyard gardening. So the Ministry of Agriculture, they were promoting urban farming, and they had some excess, the drums, the crystal drums. So I contacted them and they donated some drums to us. So after that we contacted FCD, because in Benke we also partner with the French for Conservation and Development, and they donated the soil, right? So we also do training with Mopan Technical High School in Benke. They have a lot of young people who study agriculture.
Yeah.
So Mopan Technical High School, they also donated the cucumber plants for us, so that's how we started in Benke.
Wow. Amram, take me back though. You clearly said you were already farming before you worked with the youth department. You know, I think especially for people who are living in the city, we don't always make this connection that there are young people who want to be involved in agriculture from a very young age. How did that happen for you?
Well, first of all, agriculture in Belize among the youth population is somewhat being frowned upon. Right? Growing up, your parents always, well, in most
it
cases,
looks like backbreaking work.
yeah. Well, it's not. You don't have to. Agriculture is not. You don't have to be technical. Anybody can plant. Like what Edmer said, you just have to have the passion. You have to know why you want it, because you can use agriculture just as subsidized farming. So if you're a office worker, you can do subsidized farming right at home in your backyard, because cost of living is always going up. I'm not saying that you should go and purchase from the vendors, but you can also you can supplement the basic crops that you use at home: sweet pepper, tomato, onion, and Belize have the perfect
And
climate.
herbs.
Yes, and
Yeah,
herbs.
cilantro.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have the backyard program going in Benke. You have, you're located where?
Orange Walk.
In Orange Walk. You have your own program going there. What has it been like getting other young people to want to come on board? You have your individual passions, but when you talk to a 15-year-old, you know, how do you tell them get off Facebook and come plant with me?
Yeah, so agriculture is somewhat not the most popular thing right now, and that is what we're trying to change. We're trying to shift the mindset a little. So an approach that we have, and hopefully we can roll it out this September with Mopan, is that the high school students have to do community service, right? So an approach that we went to the Mopan Technical High School was to have the agriculture students, key selected agriculture students, being trained as coordinators, and in return they would get credits for their community service, and they'll be trained by the department, and they will be the coordinators of the backyard program. Because what we are aiming for is sustainability, right? If you look at different school gardens and stuff, in some cases not all of them work out for various reasons. Sometimes a teacher might be passionate about it this year and then moves, and then the other teacher doesn't pick up the slack. So we're just trying to promote that sustainability. As it relates to interest of young people, young people have to know, have to have a reason to plant. We have a high case of unemployment in Belize, right? In your backyard, you won't make $1 million, but at least you can eat. You can feed your family, you can feed yourself, and you can also barter.
Yeah.
Right? And
You know, I mean,
Make I use this example, right? The approach which he's taking is good, right? But remember, different approach in different areas. You can't live the amount of money that you live in Belize, you live in states, so you have to apply what you have, right? My approach that we took is, I am a person that I love to speak. I went home to home, house to house. If I see that you're planting, it's because you love agriculture, right? And I am a village person, and I don't feel bad if people tell me village boy. I love that. I prefer to tell me that, right? Our approach was house to house. Myself and the extension officer of Ministry of Agriculture went house to house checking on persons who love agriculture. The first point was that, who's in agriculture right here? My grandfather. How much age he have? He have 55 years old. What will happen to me in the next 10 years? No agriculture. Belize will go down in agriculture. That's the first point I showed them. Your grandfather is planting right now. You're eating what he's planting. But you are going to do construction. Yes, maybe in the future you might become a contractor, but what if that do not happen? So you have to focus on that, right? The first approach. The second approach is that, an example, you are spending $120 on groceries every week, an example, right? If you plant that, I bet you that you will lower 10% of that cost. That money will stay at your home. You can use that money to save or to send some others, your other siblings or brothers to high school. So it's in one way you are minimizing the cost of your household. So that's an next advantage as well.
Yeah.
And if you have the soil, put it to work.
Yeah.
Right? And the north part of Orange Walk is very, 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 very fertile. The soil is very fertile. So we need to do farming. We need to do agriculture.
The average person is, as a compliment, a bit lazy. We like the easy way out.
Yeah.
And Brody's,
I'm just agreeing with his general statement.
and Brody's is right there. Sylvie is right there. I pick it up. The 10% difference when I'm so tired,
Right.
is hard. And you know, in addition to that,
I will ask you.
in addition
alright.
to that, if I'm from Belize City in particular, I don't have the space, I don't have the energy, and it's not the culture. In Orange Walk, Crozal, there's a booming cane industry, and the prevailing atmosphere is leaning towards agriculture. That's what my grandfather did. That. So, but in Belize City, my grandpa never did that.
All right.
How would you translate a very effective campaign that you've had in an area that it's a friendly audience to a dismissive audience in Belize City
Right.
that can't appreciate the culture and benefits of it?
Right. My first question will be, if you go to Belize and buy the vegetable right there, do you know who is growing that product?
They'll say they don't care.
All right. That's the first question you have to do. Who is growing that product? How much chemical is being used in that product? Right? That's the two vital questions right there. Because remember, all chemicals being applied to the product has a certain days that the chemical will go. The producer is producing and he wants to make money. And the business is buying. In one way, he's not caring about the consumer, you know, because everything is money. Right? If you grow your own backyard garden, you know what you're putting in your plant, right? And growing backyard gardening is not only the usage of chemicals, you know. You can use homemade remedies, which is far less expensive than if you use chemicals. So you can go to Belize right now for the next 10 years, but what will happen to you in the next 12 years? Not that I want to tell you that you will become sick, but remember, chemicals
quite likely
bring a lot of these cancers.
Can I ask this though? I don't know. In terms of, because when we think about backyard gardening, am I right that the focus is more on vegetables than it is on flowers? Because do flowers count as backyard gardening?
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Okay.
And flowers is big business.
I was going to say
just
that
about
makes
to
even more money. Yeah.
Big business.
Because in Belize City, we're not as advanced as Orange Walk or getting that much as high on everything, but we're making slowly a progress going there. And actually at our main branch, 55 Regent Street, we have a little
Backyard
portion
garden.
that we have gardening.
Yeah.
And people come out and they plant their fruits or their flowers there, and they come and they take care of it right there. And whatever they produce, that's for them.
Yeah.
So like we offer that space for them.
Because I want to, sorry, I could, because this is, I'm a closeted gardener.
Not anymore.
I love,
Everyone knows now.
Yeah.
It's
but
out.
I absolutely love gardening. As I was sharing with you guys, that my front yard, I intentionally chose different color flowers. So when I come down visual and my daughter comes downstairs and my wife, they look and they see these colors, and that refreshes the soul. It's therapeutic, as you were saying.
Yeah.
But I can remember this story. I have a very young niece who, outside of her house, she was growing succulents. You know, the little...
Yeah.
And I was purchasing them from a place in Patt and paying $5, Orchid Garden. I was paying $5 per little plant. And I saw her with ease. She was doing them in abundance. And I went to her and I said, niece, show me how to do it, and I'll actually invest, get you the little pots, and you can make some money. And she was like, uncle, that'll work. I said, but you're already doing it. How do you cross the culture from something which is free and easy? 'Cause some of these plants, you just pop off a piece, stuck it in the ground and water it for 6 days, and you have something that you can sell. How do you translate the economic opportunity to young people who are very dismissive sometimes, particularly when it relates to things that are not technology-based?
Yeah.
I feel like with young, I feel like you can take over from that. But for me, as a young person, I like to think about incentive. So you have to look at them, and as he was mentioning, you will spend $120, and you can cut off a portion, like a 10% portion of that if you do your own backyard gardening. And you have to like emphasize that on them. Let them understand paying so much for groceries, but you can pay less if you decide to do your own backyard gardening. And you have to present numbers to them, because young people like to see numbers. We don't like to hear it up in the air. Oh, you're gonna use less money for this or so. We want to see, okay, you have to do the numbers up there.
on. Imagine.
Yeah, that's the
Sometimes
thing.
it goes up
And
to
then-
12.
Well, Christmas time especially, plant now and you'll make some money at Christmas.
Yes, you have to give
And
them
right
incentive.
now is the best time to plant for Christmas.
Yes,
Yeah.
that is
Remember,
true.
that will grow. So
I'll get
from
my
right now,
And then
you
the
have to
rain
plant
is coming too
for
on its
Christmas.
own, so you don't have to always remember to be planting in case you get lazy, because we forget sometimes. You have to give them incentive. When we do our do-it-yourself programs and so forth like that, we try to instill in their mind that they have to go out there and they have to make their business. They have to take the initiative. They have to make it their business, right? So you can't be depending on other people. So it's the same way with the backyard gardening. No one is going to do it for you. You have to have the passion to want to make money, want to have something that you can just enjoy, because sometimes you start off making money and then you realize, I actually like this. This is actually fun. And you look at your plants and be like, my rose is growing. People get excited about things like that. So look at my watermelon.
Understatement. People who love gardening
Yes.
are pet owners.
wake
Don't
up in the
talk about
morning,
their
yeah.
flowers.
Yeah.
I wanted to bring something back because I think it is important. There's been an on and off effort in Belize
Yeah.
to establish what are called urban gardens. And it is a part of being able to help vulnerable communities have a shared space for produce, whether for sale or for their own subsistence farming in the neighborhood. Have you been able to work on a model in Benke and Orange Walk, or are we still pushing for that in Belize? Because it would be lovely if, we have a community garden where not only we can see roses, which is, appealing to the eyes, but I could go pick my sweet pepper or tomato or whatever else you can grow, I don't know.
Right at your veranda.
No, I know, but what I'm talking urban gardening
yeah.
in a community spacing, like beyond just the backyard, where people work collectively together. There's a movement, and I know, like I said, I know there's been on and off efforts, and I don't know where it is now.
Well, as I mentioned before, in Belize City, we actually have a space, an area that we have blocked off really. That's biomural.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful right there already. So with the plants and everything, we actually have some beautiful watermelons that are growing. I look at the watermelons, I'm like, you could actually see the baby watermelons growing. But people come in that we have enterprise unit.
Okay.
That the do-it-yourself program, and they actually grow their plants or their flowers there. So we're already on our way towards that community urban gardening idea. So we're with that idea too. We're trying to develop it more, stem it into something a little bit bigger than just there.
Yeah.
So you think that the step can be made we have a lot of abandoned lots.
Yeah.
You think that step can be made?
Of course, as long we have a lot of partners, the department does not run by itself, as they were mentioning. So much people are on board. Schools and all of these departments are on board. So we believe, of course, that we can get some empty plots and beautify the country easily. It's just a matter of talking, having these same conversations, and showing them the progress we've already made.
So let's be honest here, all right? Not everybody has a green thumb. You're not born with it. My mother is an avid gardener. I can't keep anything alive. Like, there's a skill involved and science. They're technical skills. And that's why it's great that you have this program in place. If any person wants to learn more so that they can start, whether it's just with an herb garden, make a succulent survive, which is hard to kill.
Very easy to die.
How do they reach out to you guys, and how do they benefit, whether they're young or older?
Yeah. Like agriculture is like raising a baby.
Yeah.
Right. If you don't feed your baby what?
Or give it water.
Or give it just
sunlight.
yeah. Right. So like what Renata was saying about incentive. What we have done last year for summer is that we did a program called Enterprise Using Recycled Materials. And what we did, we got the same succulent plants, and then we got the recycled bottles, and we had them design the bottles and all that, make it look very attractive. And we put soil and we put the succulents in them, and then they can take it home, or they can market it to generate some sort of income, right? So that was one incentive that we were putting out there. Now, as you were discussing about the green thumb and technicality, agriculture is on a small scale. It's not technical. Anybody, as long as you have the interest, you can do it, right? A plant can grow in 6 inches or more, 6 to 12 inches of soil.
Okay.
As it relates to like cash crop like sweet pepper and tomato and stuff. Cilantro can grow in less, and certain herb can grow in less, right? So if you have
that's the container.
Yeah. Yeah, so you can do backyard gardening regardless of the size, shape, or the terrain. If
Yeah.
you have a little,
You can have no garden and you could do pots.
yeah,
Or recyclable
Materials.
containers. Yeah.
The only challenge that we in Belize right now is that a lot of young people need to from that purchasing everything and versus to do it yourself.
Yeah.
Right. In different communities, it's different.
Yeah.
Right. Like in the south, right. The other department offices, they have been training people to do backyard gardening with collaboration with Tide. Right.
Many workshops
Yeah.
that they do actually.
Yeah, but they don't only focus on the backyard gardening, they focus on landscape and stuff. So if you feel as though planting is not for you, then you can go and do a little landscape and use your ornamental flowers and different stuff like that, right? So if we can shift that mindset, I think it will be much, much more better. There's the how, right? We have the incentive, but a lot of young people, like I mentioned earlier, are living in poverty, right? There's a whole saying that say, well, it's the saying is in the Bible, by the sweat of thy brow man shall eat bread, right? What you put in, you take out. If you want to eat, you can plant your own food. You don't have to have a 9-to-5 government job or stuff to grow your own food.
Yeah.
Right? You can do it right in your backyard.
It's just knowing that you can learn too.
Yes.
Because I don't subscribe to it that generally everyone is lazy to do gardening. It's if I think of what a cane farm looks like when I was younger, it looks like backbreaking work. That's why I said that. But there's so much more technology now that people use. It's not quite the same. Or I just think that I won't be capable of doing it, and maybe you tell me the skills, and I realize I have more potential than I think.
And one next could be that, well, when I was growing, when I was small, my parents used to tell me, do you want to go to the bush? Like for example, that's the question. If you don't go to school, you will go to the bush.
True. Yeah.
And I was afraid. Why the bush, snake, animals, all of that. So that's why in one way I studied, and that meant put to the persons. So he would rather go to do construction and not stay in the farming, because their belief was, if you stay in the farm, you will do dirty job, which maybe in that time they were not thinking the whole process of money, because in the north part of Orange, there are very, very rich persons dealing with agriculture, you know.
Yes.
Those are persons that are not educated in one way, but they are experienced in agriculture, right? And to me, not because you never get an education, you cannot make money. It's how smart you are and how passionate you are in your job. Because to me, all job that you have, let's say for example, you have your job, but you have to love your job, because it gives you first your salary. The second thing is that you have to have the passion to your job, right? So if you love that, you want to do it, and the more you do it, the perfect you get. Practice makes perfect.
And Edmer, like you talk about the wealth of it. There's a disconnect for people in Belize City because you don't, as I said, have the history. The credit unions, you talk about the wealth. If you don't believe what you're saying, people don't believe what you're saying, go to the banks and the credit unions when you're having the second payment. Look at the credit union accounts, who all have account books.
Yes.
And it's actually there. But the issue of backyard gardening, to me, as I want to encourage people out there to try it, is, the inspiration of it is that, look at when immigrants come to Belize and they're squatting over swamps.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even those people try to plant at least one. I remember a recent case I did, looking at a very poor community. They're not afraid.
They're not afraid.
They realize
That's
that the
the good
one
thing
thing
about
they
them.
need is food.
And money.
And they don't have options. And so you see they plant a coconut tree, but you'll always see them have a little container with some little cash crop.
Yeah.
The question is, and I'd like to pose that question to you a little. You were talking to us about how do we make that transition into their heads. Apart from giving them the numbers, what else can we do to translate it from young people thinking, I think there's an app on your phone that play, there's a farm game that you actually...
Farmville?
Farmville. From looking at Farmville on your phone, looking at Granny, they deal with the flowers and they talk to her because she's crazy in the backyard, to me actually doing it. How do we get that connection?
The connection between the youth.
Between the connection of the youth to not look at it as something I do on Facebook, Farmville, and not something that my grandmother does, to something that I should try. I don't even talk about executing it on long term. Just try it. How do we get into actually just try it?
Well, for us, I would say through the programs, but also you could think about through mentorship. We should also look at the schools and partnerships with the schools, because as he was mentioning, you can do community service through it. And I feel like gardening is something that you start off thinking you don't like it, and then you might love it. Fall in love with it along the way. And I know you said earlier that not everyone has the green thumb, and that's okay, because I've killed a couple cilantro plants before, and it's okay. Like, you get it right. Practice makes perfect. You get it right after a certain amount of time. We need to instill in our young people that they should try new things. It just takes a little bit of effort to water it. I mean, it's not like a baby that cries and you know you have to feed it, but like, we have our phone, we could just set an alarm. 12 o'clock, I'm supposed to water my plant or something like that, and it comes on. So we need to really instill in our young people's mind that they need to take initiative. We have mentors too as well, because we can have the older folks come and talk to them about how important it is. And also those that are already gardening. I prefer to hear it from a young person sometimes that this is fun, and then I try it out one time and I actually like it like that. So young people, myself, we need to take the initiative to actually spread the information about backyard gardening, because we want to make climate change. We want to be sustainable developed. So we need to actually put out the information like that. And you can come visit the department.
There you go. That's all you need to do. Find your youth department and figure out how you can get enrolled in one of these programs, or just seek out one of the individuals here and find out from them directly what you need to do.
We will be starting a follow program next 2 weeks.
Okay.
So we will be providing sweet pepper, cilantro, cucumber, can. So we're there.
Young people.
No, I can't.
Youth department.
I mean, ages 14 to 29, you know.
And it's slightly above that, maybe a couple of years.
But not only your person. Because remember, maybe the kid is going to school, the father or the mother can go and take the training, and then in the next 3 years, she can teach the other son. So it's a cycle thing. So we have to do it.
It's a community initiative.
It's a community initiative.
Well, thank you for coming in and telling us all about it. We really do appreciate it, and best of luck.
Thank you.
We're going to go ahead and take a final break now, and when we come back, we'll have our wrap-up, so stay tuned.